yeah, welcome to the OCRP iRacing ARCA series here tonight at Chicagoland. And I know you're saying the ARCA series, what? Yeah, it's the same guys that you saw in the Cup series last season. They're just in the ARCA car this time around, and I wanted to make it confusing for everybody in the end. Joe, how you doing? My name's Jeff Favignano. I'm joined by Joe Cortez. We're ready for some cookie cutter racing tonight.
The Big Egg just outside of Chicagoland, right in the heart of the greater Chicagoland. Joliet, Illinois is where we are at. 500 Speedway Boulevard to be exact, in what is now becoming a very, very tight points race for everybody involved, Jeff. Tonight's race is going to be more than just cookie cutter racing. It's going to be about positioning, posturing, and ultimately finding a way to work your way through the field and get as many points as you can going into the last two races of the season.
Yeah, and we're going to keep an eye on those points as we move along here, and we're looking at the standings right now. Wes Graham still there, holding the lead with 371 points, and then you have Leo Fodorero right behind him, and Jason Lance with 320 there, and then you have Kyle Carpenter up in the mix. So these four we're going to keep an eye on for sure over the next couple races, and we have a couple more to go, and I have to say, I will not be here next week for a broadcast, unfortunately, unless somebody wants to pick up the broadcast. It will not be here on this channel, as I will be in California until the 12th. But the next race will be at Nashville Fairgrounds, and I'm kind of sad about missing that one, Joe, because I love short track racing. But we'll be back in action for the Miami Speedway for the championship. Don't want to miss that one. That is for certain. But let's focus our attention to the Chicagoland 200 right now. Jason Lance sitting on the pole.
Jason Lance, Bearder, Graham, Potter, and Fodorero making up your top five in qualifying right now. Very interesting. Jason Lance, a great competitor. He's had the speed all season. He's been able to run up front. Very interesting watching him lead Wes Graham in third, Leonard Fodorero in fifth, and Nick Sargent in sixth. And then other winners in series current this season and previously also in the top 10, notably Chavez Essery, Kyle Carpenter, and Brandon Buggs currently sitting in ninth. And of course, Orndorff, who won for the first time this season, sitting in 10th. So a lot of great talent sitting in that top 10. And a track like this, and a track that is cookie cutter that everyone is familiar with, it's going to be interesting.
Yep, I'm watching Fodorero there. He's fifth fastest here on the board right now. Going to be starting P5, but Graham and then also Carpenter and Buggs up in the mix like you talked about. We're going to expect, good things out of those guys. And also Essery, like you were saying. And I say don't count out Orndorff. We saw great things at Michigan out of that driver. I would expect to see him running up there towards the front this time around. He'll be starting, looks like, around P10 there. 5 minutes left on the clock. That is the first 5 minutes. So right now, qualifying is over. It is shut down. We'll have your starting grid once we get rolling here. But the next few moments will be or the next few minutes actually, will be for the drivers meeting that they are having right now before they grid up. And then we get you on your way to some green flag racing. And, I'm expecting this race to be not as caution heavy as we have seen earlier in the season. This track does give you a lot of room.
For those who enjoy the big racing at those very large D ovals with a high banking, they're going to love this, because effectively this is a 2/3 version of those tracks, the ones you see in like California, Michigan, other big tracks that have plenty of room to run. Consider this, just a smaller version of that. Just over 1.5 miles. Turns are banked at 18 degrees. Front stretch 11 degrees. So this is going to be friendly for those drivers who do love that hammer down racing, that love to be able to pick their lanes, get in the draft, move side by side, and ultimately work with teammates to get up front and get to the lead. And we've already seen that so far with the guys who are currently sitting up front. I've got a feeling that trend is going to continue, and this race is really going to come down to who you partner with and how far you can go with those around you.
It has a lot to do with the draft, and if we'll see anything out of that thing here, as a lot of these drivers have complained this season about this particular car and how it drafts. It just doesn't seem to do a whole heck of a lot. Have a look at the weather here, though. Air temperature 77 degrees, track temperature a cool 91. We're used to seeing about 118 to 120 out on these tracks, but right now we have that cloud cover that rolled in here, Joe, but a lower track temperature equals more grip.
Lower temperature equals more grip, less sliding around, less like ice. The hotter the track is, plus the hotter the track is, the harder it is on those tires. With the constant abuse they're putting on them, those tires literally melt under the higher track temperature. With a lower track temperature, it'll be more grippy. They'll be able to really pick their lanes and figure out how and where they want to go. What I'm really curious, what I'm very, very curious to see here at the end of the day is how much they want to abuse those tires, how much they want to use them up, and ultimately figure out how much they want to save for the end of the race. When you look at some of those guys up front, it's really a big mix between those who are known for being conservative with their rigs and those known for being very aggressive with their rigs. And it's really going to be, I think, once again, this race is really going to come down to who comes down pit road and when.
Well, last race was at Indianapolis, and Leonard Favignano took the win there by managing the tires better than anybody else. We saw him figuring out how to save his front tire, and he was doing some different techniques to do that. And this is going to be something a little bit different when it comes to how you do manage, but we're going to see guys that are going to be utilizing their brake bias here to help the car settle into the corner. I think we're going to see some flat-out racing early on for sure. Guys that are going to figure out how to just, hold it down all the way around this track for the opening laps. But that won't suffice for the entire race. That is for certain. Before we get started here with the starting grid, wanted to say we saw some drivers that moved up since the last race. We saw good things out of Joel Brown. He gained 3 spots there. Zachary Guzman gained 3, and Rick Evans actually gained 3 there, but James Hilton dropping 3 back. And I know a lot of people are here for watching the 81 and where he's going to be ending up right now 15th in points. And Joe, this is not the season that Bugs was hoping for.
This is far from the season Bay Area Bugs was hoping for, but then again, he is also one of the most competitive people I know. He expects greatness out of himself every time he suits up and gets behind one of these virtual machines. Every time he's got the wheel on, he expects to win. And we've heard it before. We've heard the whole story before. Car is terrible. I hate it. I hate this car, hate this track. And then he ends up winning. We haven't heard a whole lot from him all this season. He's been very quiet, very conservative, very selective with how he wants to word things and how he wants to approach this race, this whole racing schedule as a whole. So very interesting kind of watching a change in mindset from Bugs. And, I will say this, though. A lot of the incidents he is involved in, a lot of the reasons he is not higher up, a lot of them are just not his fault. He's been a victim of some really bad karma out there. So hopefully tonight he'll be able to get it right, get it moving, and the fans will have a new reason to cheer for the 81.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see good things out of him at this track as well. I mean, we saw that, he's already going to have a Ford spot here to start the race, but it hasn't been the season that he was hoping for, and a lot of other guys. I think a lot of guys were like, hey, the Cup, they weren't a fan of the next gens. They said they sucked and everything else, and then here we are in the ARCA thinking that it's just going to fix all these problems, and it doesn't. And a lot of people aren't enjoying the ARCA car currently as well. But on the pole will be Jason Lance, and we're going to be talking a lot about Jason because Jason's been up front so much, but I don't want to, overshadow anything else, and that is going to be Robert Bearder starting in second. So a lot of speed out of Robert Bearder. Not used to seeing that one at all. 134 laps around here tonight, and let's hope for some green flag racing. I want to see the guys that are putting in time to find the speed in their cars, and allowing that to work out in their favor, because we've seen so many guys just kind of get screwed on that.
We really have, and I don't think this car is going to go down as one of the more popular cars as far as these seasons go. But you know what? As they say, for all of the teams I've ever rooted for since my childhood, there's always next season. And I think at this juncture, there's a lot of guys out there looking forward to next season. Pace cars on the roll. Let's take you through the starting lineup.
Starting grid tonight on pole right there, Jason Lance. How about it? So close to getting wins, has so much speed. Let's see if we can do it tonight. Outside of him, Robert Bearder.
The RAR car finished starting position number 2. In position number 3, your current points leader, Wes Graham, will start the inside row number 2. Outside of him, the 60 of Ryan Potter.
Row number 3, Leonard Fodorero getting that win at Indianapolis. Really hoping to have a good one here tonight. Outside of him, Nick Sargent, the 48.
Row number 4 belongs to 77. That's Smokey the Bandit, Pontiac Firebird. That's Kyle Carpenter. On the outside of him, Chavez Essery, the 51.
Row number 5, Brandon Buggs in the 81. Outside of him in the 20, Jonathan Orendorf.
Row 6 belongs to Rick Evans and Joe Ogle.
Row number 7, Austin Johnson and Nick Gould.
Tyler Schultz in the inside of the row number 8. On the outside of him, Aviator Alex Reno.
And row number 9, Siv Ryan and Zachary Guzman. That's it.
That will, they'll round out everyone who took time anyways.
Yeah, Joel Brown and Robert Webb elected to not take time, so they will start at the tail end of the field. Right now, lights are off on the pace car. That means we're going to be green flag racing when they get back over here. Remember, they're going to go on the flag. Next time, it will be at the Geico Restart Zone, which they are in right now. Green flag in the air at Chicagoland.
And they begin scoring lap number 1 of 134 here in Joliet, Illinois. Let's get you take straight to the green flag racing as the 86 at Ratfink Chevrolet, wasting no time getting up front. Wes Semes behind him, giving him a nice little push. Wes doesn't want to waste any time either. He's looking for the lead.
A lot of these guys really loose off of turn number 2, and you can feel that in the car because, hey, they're on cold tires right now, and we're seeing them skating around. A lot of room on the racetrack to run around, and I saw a big move out of the 81, but now the 4 of Robert Beard is going to fall back a little bit, and now here comes Leonard Fodorero on the inside.
Almost 3 wide on the apron going into turns 1 and 2. They will settle it down. Jason Lance continues to lead, but Graham and Fodorero not far behind. Graham wants to try to get around the hard way.
And he is going to be on the outside, and Jason Lance has no help whatsoever. And watching that 67, he doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of help either, but this is where we're going to start finding out what is going on with the draft.
Well, the draft certainly wasn't what was very helpful to Graham, as he will take away the lead on lap number 3, your first lead change of the night. Leonard Fodorero says, I'm going for it too. Makes a crossover through turns 1 and 2 on the backstretch. Graham and Fodorero, no surprise, 1 and 2.
On board with Fodorero right now, and you can see running a higher line here in 3 and 4. You saw the 88 get very loose, and he made a lot of room on him just off of that mistake.
Cold tires will do that to you, as now they drag race side by side on the front stretch. Advantage Fodorero. He will dive down first, but we know Graham is fast on the outside. Who's going to exit the backstretch first? It will be Leonard Fodorero, your second lead change. And
we'll see if Wes can set him up in a similar fashion. We might see this hopscotching happen on these restarts all night long. You can see how loose the cars are, especially when there is traffic right there next to them.
Yeah, the side drafting on these cars are not going to be fun tonight, as Graham trying to pick up the lead from Fodorero one more time. He's going to go down low, trying to make the pass that way. He will get the advantage this time around. No, he will not. It's another drag race down that curved backstretch.
I'm watching some other battles out on the track right now, but we're going to keep our eyes up here in the front because this is what it is all about. These guys are putting it all on the line right now to make it and try to clinch the championship as quickly as possible. Remember, we do have that one drop week that's going to change everything up, so we'll have to account for that when we get to the championship itself. But right now, we're watching these two because, man, it's all about points today.
These guys came into this race 5 points separating them, with Graham having the advantage by 5 points.
And
2 races left at the end of the season, and caution's out for the first time. Joe Ogle involved.
Yep, and he did not fix that paint on that car whatsoever.
No, we did not.
We still live with this. What are you doing?
Maybe
to us,
that's
Joe?
the reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, karma. We talked about it earlier.
I just think the paint is messing with his weight, man.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's throwing it all to the right. That could be throwing him. That could be messing with him.
Looks like it was a self-spin. Just got loose off of turn number 2. And you can just see how on the edge the cars are. It didn't take much. Nobody else gets collected in that. And he's able to hang on to it into the grass and get it pointed straight again. So Joe Ogle bringing the caution out. I'm sure he's going to find his way to pit road, but maybe not. If he's okay with having flat spotted tires and doesn't want to use a set, he might stay out. But right now we're under caution on lap number 7 when the 55 spun off of turn number 2. So now we can talk about what's going on up here in the top 5, because one of those drivers is Kyle Carpenter, started 7th, and he's already up to 4th, Joe, and he's in the mix for the championship as well.
Calling him a dark horse or an underdog, I think, would be insulting to his talent. He's shown time and time again this year that he is capable of running laps, he's capable of leading laps, and he's certainly capable of making it winning when it counts. He has already won once this year at Mid-Ohio, so it's definitely possible for him to win again here, to make the run continuously. Now the question is, how aggressive does he want to be out there when everyone else runs as well? Another couple of names I'm watching, of course, is Rob Bearder in the number 4 machine, the RAR car, as it were. When he's up front, when he's comfortable with the car and comfortable with the track, he can really make some great moves on the field. We've seen him finish top 5 before. It would not surprise me if he finishes top 5 again and puts that RAR car back on the podium.
Yeah, and he's been just doing a really good job maintaining his speed. And right now, another person that's getting shadowed over all of this would be the 60th Potter. We've seen good speed out of that driver as well this season. Whenever he has a good run, he's up there in the mix as well. One person I'm keeping an eye on is Nick Sargent, and he's back here after starting 6th. He is 9th right now, so struggled a little bit there, and not sure if it was just not able to have a drafting partner there to help him or push him on that restart. But we saw a lot of these guys kind of running that wall of air.
And yes, chat, the liquid death machine of Brandon Buggs is now sitting position number 8. He will restart on that high side, which has been shown a lot of speed. Nobody elected to take tires this time around, which I think is a smart move. You only get 5 sets, and it's a little early to come down pit road. They'll need to get some speed back on these tires, some heat underneath them. But when they do, I think they will get some good racing going.
I'm going to try to, whenever I can, stop that one camera that has the mic just way too loud. Nothing we can do about it right now, but it has been, it's in turn 2. I know that, because that sucker's loud whenever they go by. But yeah, right now, lights off of the pace car. Will be green flag racing next time, and that'll be restarting on lap 10. Remember, first time was with the flagman, so now the 67 will be the control car, and he will be the one to go in the Geico restart zone. So we'll keep an eye on that.
And everyone knows Leonard Fodorero is a very aggressive driver when it comes to restarts. He does a great job of keeping everybody questioning when he's going to go and use that to his advantage to take a big jump. Pace car is in, so Leonard Fodorero will be the control car as he goes through the Geico restart zone. Waits for the flagman that time in an interesting move, but everybody anticipates it, and we're back to green flag racing.
And everybody's going to go ahead and dive into turn 1. And this is where you just kind of want to hang on to the car, go as quick as you possibly can. I mean, you're not going to see guys lift at all, but you'll see guys that'll be more conservative than others getting into turn 1 so they don't wreck. But right now, the 67 out front.
The 67 out front, roll riding a little bit up there, as now we go back to Brandon Buggs, who's running in the middle of traffic with some of your guys who are leading up front. He's back there with Jason Lance, trying to get a draft going with him. Behind him, Jonathan Orndorff trying to give him the push to get through the turns. Let's ride along with Kyle Carpenter now, as he's got a great view of the leaders.
And we see just how much speed is here in the car. So getting into turn number 3, about 183 miles per hour right there, and they're all 3 riding that higher line. Here comes the 88 looking to the inside to try to make things interesting, and now they're going to be side by side. That's the 77 and the 60 of Potter.
And again, these cars do not like the side draft at all. Let's see what happens when they go through turns 1 and 2. Looks like some blinking from Potter. He's had some issues throughout the night in the blinking. Let's see if he's able to keep it on the track. Meanwhile, Fodorero and Graham nose to nose, side by side. Fodorero has the speed, but Graham seems to do some digging in the turns.
Yeah, and you can see right there, the 88 was running really, really good on the outside lane of 3 and 4, but Leonard Fodorero takes away that line and forces the 88 a little bit further down the track, and he's not able to get a run.
Kyle Carpenter trying the shortcut on the front stretch, not able to really pick up a lot of time using that front stretch. Remember, that apron up front is legal. They can use that to their advantage and try to cut the course and try to take a little bit of time off. The problem is it did not work in Carpenter's favor, as now Favignano and Graham starting to get a run. Meanwhile, Jonathan Orndorff will get ahead of Brandon Buggs, move him up to position number 8.
Yeah, good move by him right there. But yeah, no, the 88 isn't too far off the back of the 67.
Not far back at all. Those guys maybe have a car length between them, and I think that's where Wes Graham wants to be right now, as you see him just avoid scraping that Brandt wall in the backstretch. He wants to just keep him in eye shot. He wants to stay in his draft, not do anything crazy. Let Favignano make the unforced error, as now you see him back way off. He might have just entered that turn way too high and is now paying the price for it.
Yeah, and you'll see just how much wheel Favignano's given the car in turn 1 right here. It's not a whole lot. He's trying to be as smooth as he possibly can. A little bit turn into the right there. That means that you're loose right there, Joe.
Yeah, all these cars seem to be a little bit loose tonight. Remember, these guys cannot adjust anything in their car. They can only adjust 2 different things. They can adjust a brake bias, and they can adjust their steering ratio, and that's it. For all intents and purposes, this is effectively an IROC race, where everyone has the same setup, and you have to do the best you can with the car you're given.
And that's 77 of Kyle Carpenter running the apron on the front stretch. That is normal. And that is perfectly legal. You'll see a lot of guys take that line throughout the night. The 77 get a little tight there. Going to have to give some room to the 88 and give up some speed, and that's going to allow the 60 to jump to the outside.
Kyle Potter, though, still blinking back there. He may have some issues that he needs to worry about with his internet connection, with his computer. Not sure exactly what's going on with that 60 machine, but it definitely will be a concern as we go throughout the race. Meanwhile, Carpenter using that shortcut to his advantage, staying in second pretty solidly, but Wes Graham has something that Kyle Carpenter doesn't have, and that's the 60 Potter.
Yeah, and you see the 60 at Potter there, very, very loose. Almost lost the car in turn number 2, and that's similar to what we saw out of the 55 of Joe Ogle, having to try to battle the carb. So the 60, very loose, and that just shows that all these guys are going to be super loose right now, and then as that tire starts to fall off, the car's going to turn to the tight side.
5 sets of tires on these cars, and right now they are just getting them warmed up. They're getting them worn down just a little bit, trying to find that grippiness that the colder track is supposed to bring. Let's go ahead and run along the 86, a Ratchfig Chevrolet of Jason Lance. He was up front to start this race. He has now dropped down to position number 7. Could be a strategy move, though, just considering all the chaos that has happened so far up front. Might not want to get involved in anything crazy before he needs to.
I like what I'm seeing out of the 86 right now, just, maintaining that speed. And he's on the inside of Esri right now, and that is Robert Bearder in the 4 car. And those guys are running the top lane of 1 and 2.
They're running it as hard as they can. A lot of speed up on that lane. This is exactly what we were talking about in the pre-show, Jeff. These guys can find a lot of speed all around this track. High line, low line, it doesn't matter. You can have speed on this track. You can get some grip on this track. And if you have a drafting partner, if you have someone pushing you, you may be able to, make some even more moves, as Carpenter made an aggressive move to catch up to Leonard Favignano there.
Yeah, and we're going to get back up there. I was watching that battle right there, but the 77, made that move and dived it to the bottom of the track, and it's working out for him right now with Kyle Carpenter running a 32.143 to Leo's 32.295. So right now, the fastest car on the track would be that 77. He's got to figure it out.
That Firebird definitely hasn't figured out. I think his tires are dialed in to the sweet spot as he uses the shortcut one more time at the line. He will technically be credited as your leader, but I don't think that leads to last long as they box it out in 1 and 2.
And you can see how loose that 67. Look at him just, using so much wheel input. It was a 51 of Essery scrapes the wall off of 2.
Someone tell Essery that we're not in Martinsville and it's not lap 134 yet.
The caution
get on that.
Comes out.
As the caution comes out
Nick
for the second time
Sargent
tonight.
Started 6th, and right now is backwards on the track. We're going to find out what just occurred here. And I would imagine we're going to be quick with this one because I know everybody's going to be coming down pit road on this one. Looks like the 26 of Guzman up in the wall right there. Can't get off the wall. Kind of Ross Chastain in it. And comes down into the 48. 48, nothing he can do. He's just along for the ride.
He's gonna get the Dairy Queen machine will get his milk shaken on that one as he goes around for the ride. Not a lot of damage it looks like though, so he should be okay. Meanwhile, up front, Kyle Carpenter will lead them down pit road when if they decide to come this time by. And I've got a feeling you're right, Jeff. They probably will, though. I don't know that everyone will come down pit road.
No, we'll probably see some guys that want to stay out a little bit here, expecting a little bit more of a run, or guys are going to make a strategy call to say, hey, maybe I'll stay out for track position and then hope for a quick yellow, but it's not looking like that is the case at all.
I stand corrected as literally everybody comes down pit road. Nick Sargent, the last of them. Everybody looking for the same thing. 4 tires and a full tank of virtual Sunoco racing fuel. Now, here's my question. Is anyone going to be ballsy enough to go for only 2 tires to stop?
I don't think that's the call. I think if you're going to do the 2 tires, it's just not going to work out for you at all, especially on these restarts and with the car being as loose as it is.
Oh, it looks like we have a couple takers. Kyle Carpenter gets out real quick. Here comes the rest of the field. Big chaos on pit road. You're so glad they can't run into each other. The Summon having major problems. He will be probably the last one off pit road. Nick Sargent should beat him. But your race off pit road, Kyle Carpenter wins it. Either that was a 2-tire stop or that was a very, very quick 4-tire stop.
That was a quick 4-tire stop. One person took 2 tires. And that would be the 22 of Alex Reno. He had a 7.7 in the box. Everybody else 14s. And 14.2 stop for Kyle Carpenter there for a 4-tire and fuel stop.
Very quick stop for Kyle Carpenter. These guys know what's on the line. They may not be in the heat of the championship battle, but they do know that every win counts, and they've got a beautiful car in that Pontiac Firebird, that's Smoking the Bandit tribute Firebird. They want to show it off on TV as much as they can, and I don't blame them. Yeah,
it's a beautiful car. It taking the Trans Am from Smoking the Bandit and putting it on the Twisted Sister here. It's interesting. And it doesn't look bad.
No, I love it. I think of all the cars so far, the RAR car is definitely a close second, but that Firebird is definitely number 1 on my parade list this year.
And that is the one I want to try to get rid of. Come on. Oh, I think I got it. I might have got it, Matt. I don't know.
A little behind the scenes look for you there here on the broadcast. So as we restart, Kyle Carpenter will once again be your leader. Leonard Fodorero second, Wes Graham third. It'll be Rob Bearder fourth, Jason Lance fifth, and look who's up to sixth. It's your favorite chat. It's Brandon Buggs, the Liquid Death Machine, delivering to some thirsty people up front.
It's Boat Boy.
Boat Boy, it's Boat Boy when we need him.
Lights off on that base car, and yep, the 77 will be the control to the Geico restart zone. And it doesn't take long to get down there to it. Green flag back in the air here at Chicagoland.
Interesting move once again as a 77 will do the same thing Leonard Fodorero did last time, and that is wait for the flagman to drop the green before he goes. He will retain the lead and now battles for second between your 2 points leaders.
And the caution comes out. Looks like Robert Webb involved. Not good at all right there. Looks like they got bunched up off of turn number 2. We'll back it up and see what exactly just happened here. But it was a whole mess in front of him that I think it started right around Potter and company. Not Potter, but it was Joel Brown, which looks like he just kind of comes down the track. Maybe he didn't know that he was clear. Oh, no, he just lost it. Yeah,
he looks like he just spun the tires going into turn number 1 there. These cold tires do not react the same, which is why I was curious if anyone was going to stay out, because they were just getting the sweet spot on those tires. That will start a chain reaction, collecting the 55, the 12, the 48, the 70. So 6 cars in total involved, and those 6 cars will probably need a quick repair.
They will. We're going to ride on board with Ryan. He got the worst of it right here.
That is the gamer gulps machine, right?
Gamer gulps.
That's what I thought.
Back it up a little bit here. And yeah, right here you can see the 91 of Webb sideways in front of the 55 of Ogle, and the 48 to the outside of him. They're sliding up the track. Ryan in the brakes, nothing he can do right here, and just goes right underneath the 55, and it lifts him up. And the 55 comes off the ground, hits the 48 of Sargent. He goes around. And the 70 of Rick Evans. But look at the landing that the 55 sticks right here and keeps it going straight. Absolutely crazy.
That is a wreck for the record book. No pun intended. The 55 definitely getting some great air out there as we are now on caution number 3 for the field.
Let's watch the 55 here.
Let's do that.
Happens just like that in a blink of an eye. Wow.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yep. Well, I wouldn't imagine anybody's going to come down on pit road after everybody just stops. So everybody's going to stay out here, and we'll have a quick caution on this one. And I'm sure guys will be coming down pit road to get their fast repairs. And one of those drivers was that 12 of Civ Ryan, and Joe Ogle there in the 55. He used the fast repair as well, and they are on their way to make themselves back to the end of the field.
So no takers for pit road this time by. Everybody is going to, well, I mean, except for those who were involved in the accident, everyone's going to stay out. Everyone's going to start working these brand new tires, these general tires into the ground, into the pavement, start warming them up and try to get moving that way as they line up side by side. Really no changes in your top 10 as a result of that accident. Carpenter Foderero still 1 and 2. Graham Bearder, row number 2. Row number 3 belongs to Lance and Bugs. Chavez Esri, Jonathan Orndorff, row number 4, and back behind them, looks like the 21 and 22 now are in the top 10.
Yeah, things have changed up a little bit there, and like you just said, the 81 and 6th. And then all the way back here, I'm watching, yeah, Zachary Guzman gained some spots there. He's in P11 on this restart. And in the very, very back, the 55, Joe Ogle and Civ Ryan, nobody has gone down a lap. Everybody on the lead lap as of right now. Kyle Carpenter, the control car here on this restart. Lights off on the pace car. Will be green flag racing once it ducks down on pit road off of turn number 4.
And once again, Kyle Carpenter will be in charge of the entire field. Will he go during the restart zone, or will he wait for the green flag to drop? Only one way to find out. They enter the zone, they exit the zone, and it will be now in charge of the green flag to lead them out of the track and back to green flag racing. It is Carpenter getting a good jump, but once again, Foderero, Graham side by side.
Yep, and we're going to ride on board with Graham on this restart to show you just how crazy it actually can be. He's side by side with the 67 of Foderero right now, and you can see just a huge jump between the two, and the 67 fighting on the outside. But look at this run the 88 has right now on the back bumper of the 77.
Carpenter is just towing Graham through that turn into 3 and 4. Now going to go down on the apron. He's going to have some help down there. Going to try to use the shortcut to their advantage as well. Carpenter going high, wide, and handsome, holding off your 2 points leaders.
And it is absolute pandemonium off of turn number 2. The 67 almost caught the fence there, and the 88 almost joined him. But they are able to maintain a good distance from each other right now, and they're still going to be side by side for the battle for second.
No changes up front except for the number of guys going to try to use that shortcut to their advantage. Also watch Jason Lance go down there. He looked like he picked up a little bit of time, partially because the 67 and 88 are so fiercely side drafting one another.
And this is exactly what the 77 wants to see. These two fighting really hard for the second position will allow him to pull away from these two. But the 86 of Lance, yeah, utilizing as much of the track as possible. He is keeping speed with these guys right now, running third.
Running a strong third, fourth, wherever they want to be, wherever they're going. But again, you know, as those two run side by side, the only one who seems to win is Carpenter. I said seems to because normally that side draft takes off a lot of speed off those two drivers. Now that they're settling in, they're catching up to the 77, and he's got to start figuring out where he wants to go to try to block both of these incredible drivers.
And you can hear Fodero just lifting out of the throttle a little bit there off of exit of 4. Almost finds the wall there. The caution comes out.
Caution number 4 on the field. Field is locked, and it looks like it's going to be Potter in the 60 involved in that one. Might have been a solo spin, maybe attributed to his internet issues.
Yeah, maybe. We're going to find out what just happened right now, so we don't have to guess any longer. It looks like it was the 26 and the 60. The 26 been finding that fence all night. And he finds the fence again right there, slows him up. Nothing the 60 really can do here, but hit him right there. Around he goes. Kind of gets it going straight into the wall. Comes back down to the traffic. Great job. Everybody was holding on to it there. And that was the 12, I think, ARCA break the 26 there of our wonderful Civ Ryan. And congrats to Ryan. You know, he is a full-time content creator now. Yeah, he just tried to cold trickle it on the outside. Didn't work out.
Definitely congratulations to Ryan and Gamersups and all of his partners down there. He has earned it. The man has worked incredibly hard all his life and now is finally able to reap some of the benefits of all the work he has done. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Gamersups. I hope they have a great long relationship, and congratulations, you know, and I look forward to consuming more of Civ Ryan's incredible content. If you're not following him, it's youtube.com/CivRyan.
Absolutely. Should go check it out. Joel Brown off a pit road right now. These are the guys that came down this time after finding that. So that will be the second fast. Nope. No fast repair for Civ Ryan. He's going to maintain. Unless we have to come back around and it'll let us know. Probably will be the case. But we will keep an eye on that for sure.
About to say, that car looks pretty new, so he might have burned one of his 2 quick repairs.
Yeah.
And I don't think with 100 laps to go, with about 101 laps to go, 100 when they cross the start finish line, I don't think that's a bad move. I think that's a good move to keep him going, keep him running in the right direction, and hopefully start picking up some positions on some of these other drivers. Of course, that being said, he probably also had to use another set of tires, so now he's down a set, which could come to bite him later on in the race.
Well, at this time, we want to say hello to everybody on twitch.tv/jfavignano. And if you're watching on Favignano Live, hello to you once again. But to everybody that's watching live tonight, put in the chat right now who you think is going to win this race. We've seen what everybody's capable out of 35 laps here. But we want to know what you think, if they can get up there and get it done. I thought that going into this, it would be an 88, 77, and obviously the 67 involved in this race the most, but I'm seeing some other drivers that are pushing to the front, and one of those drivers, we talked about it earlier, was Jonathan Orndorff. He's in 8th.
Jonathan Orndorff, a first-time winner. Remember, he was very fast and very comfortable at Michigan International Speedway. This track, not terribly indifferent from that in the fact that it's got a lot of racing surface and it's got a lot of speed, so he could very easily make some noise tonight and potentially get his second win of his career here at Chicagoland in Joliet, Illinois.
And they are 2x2 all the way back. Lights off on the pace car. Will be green flag racing this time by, as they will pull off onto pit road and lead them to the Geico restart zone. Once again, that's 77 of Kyle Carpenter.
What is Kyle Carpenter going to do? Is he going to restart in the zone? No, he's going to wait for the green flag to fly. Flagman lets it down, and they are back down and away. Carpenter now trying to figure out which lane he wants to go. Started low, is going to try to go high in 1 and 2.
Yeah, he jumped it outside to protect that lane, so he has that corner entry down, and it's working out in his favor. Everybody behind him scrambling right now. Still 2x2, right around 13th.
Right around 13 plus or minus as they start to settle down. They start to settle where they want to be at. Top 3, still no change, but look at that. There's a ghost behind them. This is the ghost machine of Chavez Essery, the 51, now moving into 4th and maybe trying to break into the top 3 for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and here comes the 81 of Brandon Buggs to the very bottom, utilizing all the track that he possibly can. And he's going to be side by side with the 86 off the turn 2. That was Essery in the 88. Fighting very hard right now for 4th.
And of course, Jason Lance up there, the Ratfing Chevrolet. Don't count him out yet. He's going to try to run high side, see if he can get another draft going, as now the 67 of Favignano makes a dangerous move.
And they're going to be 3 wide at the line, headed down into turn 1, but the 88's going to jump out of that mess and go, nope, we don't need to do that right now. These cars are very loose. You can tell they are just driving the heck out of these. And the 77 catches the fence off of 2.
Unforced error on the 77, gets to the 51, 88 now into the wall. Big trouble, 88, 77 side by side, get into each other, hard racing, and the 88 may go for another ride.
Wow, that was big. Off of turn number 2, everybody just kind of got caught up in the 77 hitting the fence there. Wes Graham involved, and we're going to back it up and watch what just happened, but the 77 gets into the wall, and then he just can't get off there. And then by the time he does get off the wall, absolute chaos right here. 3 wide with Essery. And there you go, almost 4 wide. Here goes Jason Lance here to the bottom, trying to get around this, and he will be clear of it. And so will the 81. He gets right around it just in time before it all goes down. And we'll back things up here. We're going to ride on board with that 81 because, man, he got a good look at what just happened. It's going to put him now in 3rd.
So you watch on the roof of the 81 here, and you see just what he has to do. He anticipates the wreck coming. He starts slowing down, waiting for the opportunity, the window to open. He will duck it down. Orndorff will go with him as a 77-88 tumble down the back stretch. Chavez Essery doing everything he can to save the 51. He will avoid major damage, but wow, what a move on Bug's part. That was an incredible move. That was very smart, and that could make the big difference between him winning and being the first loser on the track.
And here's the onboard with Carpenter, finds that, and then just, 3 wide racing. And it just happens just like that. Definitely not what they wanted to see. And everybody came down pit road except for these drivers right here that are going to be staying out. But right now, we're going to keep an eye on, I believe that was Leonard Favignano that just came off of pit road. Jason Lance, we had to watch the calamity ensue there. And that's going to change up the whole field here. We'll see if these guys are just going to stay out for the wave around. But there's no wave around. I believe everybody is on the lead lap except for the 51. He's now 2 laps down. And Zachary Guzman has parked it for the night.
Yeah, Guzman just did not look like he was comfortable with the car, comfortable with how it was driving. So probably a smart move on him. We'll see him definitely in 2 weeks at Homestead, Miami. Meanwhile, up front, Joe Ogle, who was having so much trouble with that car earlier, he is technically being credited as your leader right now. In second, Alex Reno, Aviator Alex in the AC Delco Chevrolet. And there it is. In 3rd position, a very clean-looking Gamer Subs Impala driven by Siv Ryan. I don't think he got any part of that. I don't think he got a major part of that accident. He looks pretty clean, and I don't think that he went down for another quick repair. I think he's good to go.
Yeah, it looks like he has not used a quick repair there, so it wasn't as bad as it looked. But yeah, all these guys were just on pit road, so they don't need to be on there. And they were able to stay out for that track position. It's going to work out for them. We'll see if they're able to change everything up here because there's some hungry drivers in the mix.
All of these guys are hungry right now, and it ain't going to be a Hebrew National that gets them satiated out there. They are hungry for a win. Yes, get ready for some aggressive driving, guys. We're about to see it. If you're a fan of caution, stick around. We may have another wreck very, very quick.
And the lights are off on the pace car. Going to be green flag racing this time. And this is going to be weird for a lot of the drivers that haven't been racing around these guys all night. They're going to have to anticipate the difference as Ogle now is off and away. Green flag back in the air.
Ogle, the first one to take advantage of that Geico restart zone as he gets a hammer down almost at the end of it before the green flag flies. That gives him a big jump as now Ryan and the 94 are side by side. Leonard Favignano now moving up the ranks.
And look at that 60 of Potter with a lot of speed off of turn number 2. He's going to make it 3 wide.
around that curve, backstretch into turns 3 and 4. Joe Ogle, who brought out the first caution flag, he wants to bring out the final one to win this race. Can he hold off, though, with all of those drivers just scattered behind him?
And have a look there, the 12 of Civ Ryan doing a really good job of maintaining speed and maintaining the top lane there in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And he's able to stay out in front of the 67, 94, Schultz loose.
Schultz gets loose, almost takes Favignano with him. Favignano is smart, jumps up in front of Kyle Potter, and now we've got a race going on. Ogle, Ryan, Favignano, Potter, and Schultz, your top 5.
And Joe Ogle walking away a half a second on Ryan and Favignano in the mix. And, guys like Favignano and look at, Wes Graham further back in the field. They know it's at stake here on points, so they're going to have to just take it nice and easy, and I think they're anticipating another caution.
I think everyone's anticipating another caution. They just don't want to be the one to bring it out, as we see Bugs now starting to catch up on Tyler Schultz. He's now working his way through the field, was in 5th, dropped back to 8th, anticipating another caution. Lots of drivers behind him jockeying for position. I think he's being smart right now, letting discretion be the better part of valor, not forcing anything that could jeopardize his run.
Yeah, because he had an opportunity to go 3 wide right there, and he chose to not do it, and that was smart. And he knows that 94 has just been really struggling in 1 and 2. He wants to get it. He's going to get struggling. Oh, he's hanging on. Hang on to it. Wow. He almost lost it off of 2 right there. Seen so many problems for so many drivers in turn 2 tonight, and the 81's going to fall like a rock.
He will fall back from 8th to 11. Meanwhile, up front, no major changes. Joe Ogle remains your leader, finishing lap number 45. Favignano second, Ryan third, and here comes Potter. I think he's starting to figure out his internet connection issues, and now he's hunting down the 67 with Civ Ryan.
Yeah, and Favignano very fast, and 60 almost lost it off of the corner there, and everybody's just battling this car right now versus the track. And the 55 is starting to get gobbled up by the 67 there. 16.
Quick update on the 48 of Nick Sargent. After getting involved in a couple incidents, he has pulled the Dairy Queen Chevrolet behind the wall for the night. So he will finish 21st, I believe, on the field. Or no, I'm sorry, 19th on the field of 22 starters out here tonight. So tough break for Sargent, especially considering he is always a favorite to win the championship.
Yeah, tough break for Sargent there as we're watching this battle ensue. The 67 Favignano easily got by the 55 right there and now is starting to pull away about 3/10 on Ogle back here. Here's Jason Lance, and let's look at that 20 car of Orendorff. Talked about him earlier. Finding speed at these tracks, and here he is right now in 4th, and he's side by side for 3rd.
He is getting really comfortable in that Home Depot Chevrolet. In that Tony Stewart throwback, he wants to get a second win. He's starting to feel real confident on these tracks as he side drafts Jason Lance side by side coming out of turn number 4. Lance will not use the shortcut, as it were, so they will continue battling going into turns 1 and 2.
Wes Graham has moved up to the 7th position on the inside of Civ Ryan. He'll get by him, no problem. Now in trail with the 4 off of turn number 2. And right in front of them, it looks like right around Ryan Potter, this is going to start getting a little spicy as well because the 60 is starting to find speed on the 20 and almost thought about going 3 wide back there.
Meanwhile, up front, we have a new leader. Leonard Favignano has finally picked off the 55 of Joe Ogle, and now he's starting to get a huge run on Ogle and company. 0.7 of a second. We're really starting to see the difference between old tires and new tires. And I know it's only a few laps between Ogle and Favignano's tires, but those few laps of difference make a huge, huge difference between those two.
And we're seeing exactly that. Look at the 86 of Lance going to get around the 55, no problem at all, and that'll move him up into the 2nd position behind Favignano, but he has his work cut out for him as Favignano is trying to gain about a second on the field.
Favignano, no stranger to aggressive driving. He is going to try to be as aggressive as possible. Tires and car be damned. He will run it as hard as he can until it falls off. But will that be sustainable for him? Will he be able to make that work the entire night? So far, so good for Favignano as he's holding off Jason Lance by almost a second and Jonathan Orendorff by a full second.
Yeah, it's a good battle right here for 2nd, and Orendorf's just slowly reeling him in over and over again, keeping the nose of his Chevrolet right there in his rearview mirror and saying, hey, I'm here. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to put that in the driver's mind and make them mirror drive so they make a mistake.
Well, we'll also look at what Lance and Orendorf are doing as we ride alongside the Home Depot Chevrolet of Orendorf. He is almost staying within the tire tracks of Jason Lance. They've got a little bit of a draft going, and that draft will help them ultimately work their way up towards Favignano. He's got no help out there. He's on his own. So if two cars can run in line with each other, get a little wind tunnel going, they're going to start cutting through that faster than Favignano can alone. And the next thing you know, Blue's going to get a clue real quick with some other folks around him.
That time by the fastest car on the track, Leonard Favignano with a 31.309. And Jason Lance behind him with a 31.464. So just that difference.
Some people in the chat wondering why they're dropping down the line on the front stretch. Well, on the front stretch and the front stretch only, the apron is fair game. Just like other tracks we've seen, like Iowa and others, you can use that front stretch to your advantage, and you can use it as a shortcut around the field. Kansas, Iowa, rule applies here as well. If you can run it safely without wrecking yourself or anyone else, you can use it to hopefully get an advantage and try to take a shortcut on the rest of the field. As now we watch the battle for, I believe that's position number 5, side by side. Rob Bearder trying to hold off Joe Ogle.
That was now Wes Graham has made his way back to the 20. He's only about a 10th off of him, so we're going to see this down into turn 3. He's going to set him up. Let's see what happens here, because the 20 has been running the top, and he's forcing the 88 to run the bottom that we haven't seen a whole lot of speed out of. But right there, he makes a little bit of a mistake. And they're going to be side by side back to the line here.
Unforced error on a forced error on Orendorf. He was doing a little rear view mirror driving like we were talking about. Saw the 88 make the move, got a little nervous, went up high, and ultimately forcing it out of the accelerator, which opened the door for Wes the Mess. So Graham now position number 3, Jason Lance position number 2, and both those drivers trying to hunt down your leader, Leonard Favignano.
And what can you say about Jason Lance? You know, having a great day here. Started on the pole and fell back to 7th, but now he's found his way back towards the front after having all that speed, and right now in the 2nd position. And Jason is, you know, one of those drivers that it's just, this has been a frustrating season for him. He's had so many good, qualifying starts. He's had a lot of speed. He just comes so short so many times, and he's just sick and tired of it. Now he's going to be challenging for the lead from the 67.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired. Jason Lance using that lower apron to his advantage, gets a little bit of a speed boost on it, but not enough, as he will be forced to trace around Favignano at least one more lap. But we know he has the speed now to try to set him up for a big pass.
Hey, Leo's going to make him work for it.
Hey, he makes everybody work for it. I think he makes himself work for it, as now we see that make that move one more time, get to the door panel of the 67. Favignano and Lance side by side, advantage Favignano. Lance trying to use a shortcut. He will not make it, but he is definitely setting himself up for a big run.
Man, good battle here in the front between the 86 of Jason Lance and the 67 of Favignano, and Graham right behind him, hoping that this side-by-side action that's happening up here in the front is going to allow him to reel them in.
That is true. The more they side draft, the more they go back and forth, the better it will be for everybody else on the field, as they're going to slow down and open the door potentially for Graham, Orendorf, Carpenter and company to make some moves up front and try to catch on to them. 1.5 seconds now between your leader and Wes Graham, who's in front of that second pack. As you can see, that second pack trying to work together to try to get another run back on Favignano.
And we're watching right here. This is the 12 of Civ Ryan. We saw, that restart. He was up there towards the front, and he's fallen all the way back to 11th. So that's the difference right there on what tires can do. And I think a lot of guys are going to take that information and run with it.
I think they're doing a lot of data crunching right now as we approach halfway, trying to figure out what can they do to try to catch up to leaders. What is their secret? And I know exactly what they're thinking. With not a lot to adjust, they're trying to figure out what is their secret, what is their pit strategy, what can we do to try to get an advantage on those two and start making a run towards the front. Favignano and Lance still side by side. Lance now trying to go around the hard way. Graham sees it and he's trying to make a big run himself.
Yes, he is indeed. And man, they are just going at it up here in the front.
Side by side, Lance continuing to try to make it work the hard way. He's trying to keep the speed going on that outside line, able to do it. He is technically in the lead. Can he hold on, though, through 3 and 4?
And the outside lane is the preferred lane here in 3 and 4. But, man, look at how hard the 67 drove it into the corner. And you might be wondering, is it worth it? You know, you have a lot more racing to go. Do you want to tear your tires up now, racing for this? Or you want to wait a little bit longer because you got the 88 looming right behind you, and that's for points.
Favignano has never been one to think about the consequences. He has never been one to think about the consequences of running it too hard, of burning the tires down too fast. He is always checkers or wreckers, and you can see he may do both tonight as he continues to battle with Favignano and with Lance. Meanwhile, Graham starting to really pick up some time. 2 laps ago, he was almost a second and a quarter behind them. Now he's less than a second in catching.
Yep, this is exactly what we were talking about. You know, seeing these guys racing as hard as they are out front is going to allow the 88 to catch him. And he's just knocking each 10th every lap off him right now. And the difference is there with the speed. 32.9 for Lance, a 32.937 for Favignano, but Wes running a 32.6 that last time.
Meanwhile, up front, Lance finally wrestles the lead away from Favignano. Favignano forced to do nothing but yield and catch up behind him. So now they will run nose to tail as Graham, it may be a little too late for them to get away from Graham as he is getting an incredible run and starting to get on the back bumper of that 67.
Yep, Graham looming right there, 5/10 back from Lance. And here's Favignano using the middle of the track in 3 and 4, and he's starting to diamond the corner a little bit more than the 86 is there, and then utilizing that draft to get back to him.
Yes, he is. As now that they're in a draft, you see Graham isn't catching up to him as fast as he was when they were battling side by side. When they were breaking up that draft, Graham was really catching up to him, really reeling him in. And now that they're drafting nose to tail, Graham is not reeling him in nearly as fast. The last 2 laps, he has stayed pretty consistently 6/10 behind Favignano and Lance.
And a good job by Jason Lance just maintaining the speed that he had all day. And to get by the 67, that is a lot. And Graham is really getting closer to these guys.
He is throwing all the rules out the window. He wants to try to get a little bit. He wants to try to hook himself up just to the tail end of that draft. If he can smell that wind tunnel, he can try to get back in and he can start trying to race his way among the leaders one more time. So we have a car in the grass.
Yeah, that was the 91 of Robert Webb joining back on the track. Not sure what the heck that's about, but he'll stay on the bottom there, and we will stay green. He's going to bring it down to pit road.
Coors Light Dodge, not sure why he was in the grass, but green flag remains on the field. Lance Favignano, 1 and 2, and now Graham starting to catch the end of that freight train. He wants to be the caboose and try to keep his car in the mix for the win. Remember, Lance and Graham came into this race 5 points ahead of 5 points difference. Graham was 5 points ahead of Favignano. Right now, as it would stand, Favignano would really only pick up 1 point effectively, so not enough with 3 races left to go.
Joe, we're watching 1, 2, 3, but how about number 4? Kyle Carpenter, after having those earlier issues, got in the wall, got involved in that crash, came down on pit road, did not use a fast repair. He's in 4th right now, and he's looking pretty darn good, if I do say so myself, running a 31.3, a 32.8 right now, 8:05. And that was faster than Jason Lance that time by.
He is he has found the speed in that car very well all night long. As you watch your leaders now, all of them going down to the apron to try to get a little bit more speed, try to cut the course just a little bit. Carpenter has found the speed in the car. He's really starting to get more confident, especially after his Mid-Ohio win. As now the 67 looks low, he wants to try to take position number 1 back. If I was Carpenter right now, I'd slow it just a little bit. Tell spotters for Orndorff and Gould, hey, let's hook up, let's connect, let's get a train going so we can try to start challenging for the lead, especially when they come down to pit road. Lance and Favignano use the apron to their advantage, or sorry, Favignano Graham use the apron to their advantage to go side by side. Now it's going to be a battle between your 2 points leaders.
And you're looking like it almost might be 3 wide to get it done. The 88 jumps out of that, the 86 to the outside. And we're watching the difference there. The 67 faster than the 86 in 1 and 2, but watch right here. The 86 has that advantage of the middle lane right there and really gets a good run off the corner. So the 86 is faster than 67 off of 3 and 4.
And now the 67 goes up, tries to block. He's going to go all the way back down the apron, try to block West the Mess. And once again, almost 3 wide going into turns 1 and 2. This is heating up in a big way very quickly.
And that is right there, a perfect maneuver by the 67 to take the lead away. And that's going to be forcing the 88 now to fight with the 86. And that's what he wants to see. But look at West charge into turn 3.
Charging deep into turn 3, he will pick up position number 2. And once again, it's the Favignano and Graham show, which is not what Leonard Favignano wanted to see. He wants to get way more distance. He wants to get way more cars between him and Wes Graham, because again, right now, he only stands to pick up 1 point on West the Mess. With 3 races remaining, including this one, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, this is amazing to see these guys that are running in the top 4 in points right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's perfect parity. That's all I need to see.
All things in balance, just as they should be. As your top 3 continue to run, continue to get distance on the rest of the field, this is going to get really interesting really fast, especially as we start thinking about when they come down for green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and that's the key here. You know, these guys were anticipating probably another caution since that was the flow of the race early on, but now we get that long green flag run. Things have changed. Guys have gotten used to the car and the track together, and now we have been under green for a very long time. So, yeah, they're going to have to come down pit road, and this is going to make things very exciting.
We are past halfway at this junction, running 75 of 134. Math is escaping me at this hour. All I know is that Favignano, Graham, and Lance remain your top 3, and as long as they run the line, they will continue to get a run on Carpenter, who's effectively running by himself with Gould and Orndorff almost 2 seconds behind him.
Everybody right now is a single file around this track. No battles happening right now, and we're going to see guys probably around Joel Brown here moved up to 9th, and then you have Siv Ryan behind him and Brandon Buggs. These 3 drivers here probably going to be on the side of, hey, let's let Favignano, Graham, Lance, Carpenter, those guys all come down pit road first, and then we'll come down and take a different strategy call. And you have to be perfect on these stops for that to work.
I think I agree with you, Jeff. I think everyone's waiting to hear Favignano's down, because as soon as Favignano goes, Graham and Lance will follow him just to make sure that they're able to stay pace with the man who would be king. But that will open some doors for Carpenter, for Orndorff, for Schultz, Ryan and Buggs running 10 and 11, running that shake and bake life all the way in the back of the field, trying to make some moves happen. 15 cars remain on the lead lap. Chavez, Essery, and Webb, your 16th and 17th right now, running in the back of the field. Austin Johnson, the 21 machine, he has retired for the night after being involved in several different incidents.
Yeah, and we're not giving a lot of TV time right here. Right around 5th, this is Nick Gould, and Jonathan Orndorff is right behind him, but Kyle Carpenter just in front. The 51 of Essery is a lap down, so he is not for position. But how about Gould having a good run here tonight into 5th?
Having a great run in that number 14 Good Wrench. What was it? Good Wrench service, Good Wrench lights. I need to get new glasses.
Good Wrench engines.
Good Wrench engines. I didn't know that.
Snap-on is the secondary. Yep.
All right, well, there you go. The 14 of Gould having an incredible run tonight, all the way up in 5th. Give him a shout because he definitely deserves it. Meanwhile, up front, no changes. Favignano, Graham, Lance, your top 3. And again, if I'm Favignano, although I'm running it literally as hard as I can, it doesn't help my cause as long as Graham stays in 2nd. He's rooting for Jason Lance to make that move and put him in position number 3 as Lance makes the run this time by.
You know, it's so funny. We saw Lance and Favignano going back and forth, and it allowed for the 88 to catch them no problem. But now the 88 can't get away from the 86, and this has allowed Favignano to almost get a second on him.
Absolutely it does. Now with those two battling back and forth, Favignano can get a huge lead on him and just let them battle it back and forth themselves for the scraps. But again, if I'm Favignano right now, as I see Wes in my rearview mirror, I'm also looking at Jason Lance and trying to figure out, is there anything we can do to help him? Because I need more than 1 point to out of this race to escape and actually try to make an impact on the points lead.
And that was a good move by the 86 right there. You just see he's really got 3 and 4 figured out compared to the 88 and the 67. And just what a difference that makes. He was able to just absolutely blast past the 88 there.
So now the 86 and 88 back in line, back in positions 2 and 3. Now they've got to climb the mountain a little bit, work together to try to catch back up to Leonard Favignano, who's built over a second on those two. But with them having the draft and Favignano not, it's only a matter of time for Lance and Graham reel him in.
Yeah, so this is Lance and Graham right up here in 2nd and 3rd, and then right back here, that's the 77 of Kyle Carpenter. He is in the 4th spot right now. And he has not used a fast repair. He's got 2 of those in case calamity ensues towards the end. Then Nick Gould running behind them. Those 2 cars in front are the 51 and the also the 91 of Webb. So then Webb and Chavez are both drivers that are down laps. But out front, you can see the difference right there. That's a second and about a second and a half.
A second and a half plus or minus. So that is effectively a turn that separates Favignano from Lance and company back there. So very interesting moves. Now the question is, what happens when we come down pit road? What happens when the drivers start throwing the hands out and saying, we want to come down? Everybody's thinking it, but everyone's waiting on Favignano and company. Nobody's really in a hurry to do that. So you know the car. So we know now 2 things. Number 1, this setup is super loose, and number 2, tires, although they make a difference, do not make that big a difference as Wes now comes down pit road.
Yep, Wes on pit road, and he looks like he's the only one that's going to do it. This is a absolute strategy call to come down to pit road and hope for the best here and force, the 67 to make a mistake on pit road as well. And we're going to see him doing exactly that. There's Favignano getting onto pit road very, very hard. Make sure you don't speed. You don't have any problems here. And there goes the 88 right now. That will give up the lead to the 86 of Jason Lance, as Wes will try to go ahead and get back into the cycle. So green flag stops have begun, and this is going to change up everything in this race. Carpenter's staying out as well.
So now the 86 is the man to beat. The question now is, when is he going to come down pit road, knowing that when he does come down, he will have you'll have a fuel and tire advantage on the 2 leaders. Meanwhile, more guys now coming down pit road.
Yeah, that was Jason Lance on pit road. The 67 now leaving pit road. So this is going to start the entire cycle here. And we got the 94 Schultz on pit road. And here comes Brandon Buggs and Siv Ryan, Jonathan Orendorff, everybody. It's a busy time down here.
That it is. Now everybody coming to the attention of their crews. Kyle Carpenter being scored the leader on the field. Yet to come down is Nick Gould, Joel Brown, Rob Bearder. Buggs now down on pit road. Orendorff, Ryan, all down on pit road. So Carpenter is the man to watch as he has not yet made the move to come down pit road. But I do believe he's on a slightly different schedule than your leaders.
And I'm watching right here. There's the 67 of Favignano. And there's your leader right there. So Favignano needs to unlap himself, and he'll do that right here. And that's the difference in tires. So this is going to force the 77 of Carpenter to come down pit road now He can't stay out any longer. He's just going to lose a bunch of time. No, he's going to stay out.
I think he's going to stay out as long as he can because, again, he's got effectively a lap on that machine. He's got a lap on Favignano. He's got effectively a lap on Graham. All he has to do is stay out, wait for a caution to come out, which very easily could happen. If a caution comes out, it locks the field, and Carpenter will have plenty of time to come down pit road and get to the attention of his crew and still stay in the top 5.
Yeah, he'll be able to stay in the top 5, no problem, yeah, because everybody will be staying out 100% of those that don't get trapped down. But right now, we're going to stay green, so I'm interested to see just who was the fastest during these stops. And there is your leader right there. He hasn't been down on pit road yet. So let's look at the stops here. Leonard Favignano, his pit box time was a 14.5. Wes Graham was a 14.6. So talk about a 1/10 of a difference on pit road, which should equal that out on the track. Now, it changes based on who got through their gears and who was faster earlier on off of pit road to blend back onto the track. That will definitely factor in, but those are the numbers.
And yes, numbers are important, but so is track position. And if I'm Kyle Carpenter's team, I'm running all the numbers right now. I'm doing all the arithmetic, trying to figure out how long can we stay out? How long can we wait for a caution flag to come out? When is the absolute moment we are forced to come down pit road? Because again, he is gambling right now. He is rolling the dice that he will be able to come down pit road on a caution flag, considering how many drivers are still out there. Because again, Carpenter, Gould, Bearder have not come down, or Bearder has come down pit road. So Carpenter and Nick Gould, they're the only 2 drivers left who have not come down pit road. They're trying to figure out, hey, maybe these guys will get an incident, maybe there'll be an accident, and we can take advantage of our track position.
We got a battle right here. This is for the 3rd spot, in which would be the lead, is the 88 of Wes Graham, and you got Favignano on the outside, almost lost it into turn number 1. Hard battle right now on cold tires.
You're on new tires, guys. The spotters need to get on the radios now and tell them you're on new tires. These are going to be slick. It's going to be like driving on glass out there compared to what you were driving on. So Favignano, who loves to drive it as hard as humanly possible, he's going to drive it as hard as he can, but he potentially could bring out the caution flag Carpenter is waiting on if he's not patient with those general tires underneath him.
Yeah, and I'm watching the times there on the green flag stops. That was Jason Lance, had a 15-second box time. That is all a little under a second compared to the other drivers, so that's going to hurt him a lot if this thing stays green.
It very easily could. It definitely could. And again, all eyes are on Carpenter and Nick Gould right now, trying to figure out when are they going to make the move and how long will it take for Favignano and Graham to catch up to him. 20 seconds is the difference now between Carpenter and Favignano, and that may sound like a lot, but that's not enough time to come down pit road, get your car serviced, and get back down and away. They will take back the lead when he's forced to come back down pit road. The question then becomes, if he has to come down under green, how much time does he lose? How much valuable time does he lose as we start ticking down time on the clock?
So we saw Favignano and company. They went ahead and unlapped themselves. But have a look here. This is turn 1. That's the 67 still battling with the 88 there, which will be potentially the lead. And Kyle Carpenter over here on pit road now.
Now he comes down the attention of his crew. Nick Gould will also come down as well. Now the question is, where do they come out? Favignano and Graham coming in hot and heavy. They will come around turn 4 this time by. Favignano will take back the lead. Looks like he's got some right side damage from touching the wall out there, trying to make the move on Graham. He will officially be your leader this time by. Graham now second. We're waiting to see when Carpenter and Gould come out.
So there you go. That's Carpenter right there. And here's Favignano and Graham waiting for that 77 to get on his way, and he will with Gould. So now Leonard Favignano is your leader. And that's going to put Kyle Carpenter back quite a bit. He had a 14.6 stop. And that's going to put him currently right around the 9th, 10th position.
Tough break for Kyle Carpenter. You know, he was gambling on that caution. He was gambling on being able to run with the leaders. Now he absolutely needs a caution to try to get back in with that group. Favignano and Graham running away with this race. Under 40 laps left to go. Their closest competition, Jason Lance, 4 seconds behind. Kyle Potter, 6 seconds behind. And Joel Brown, almost a time zone away.
Riding on board with Wes Graham. We're going to watch how he's attacking the track right now on these colder tires and just how slick this car is. Anytime you see this driver turning right, that is bad loose right there, and we're seeing that out of everybody tonight.
We are absolutely seeing that on everybody, especially with those brand new General Tire rubbers underneath them. The rubbers are brand new, so all right, folks, if you're playing the drinking game, here's your time to start pouring shots. These rubbers are slick on this hard track. These rubbers are definitely making it hard to stay going on the right direction on this track. It is making them slip and slide all over the place, but that happens when you're running new rubbers. All you gotta do is go slow, let it break in a little bit, and next thing you know, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast, and everybody's having a good time.
And we're gonna compare the driving style of Graham to Favignano right now, which is currently pulling about 3-4 tenths now on Graham at the stripe. A 31.309 that time by to Wes's 31.354. So a very quick time there for Favignano, and it shows in the time.
And Favignano now can do what he does best. He is able to just run this car as hard as he can, as long as he can, until the tires run off of it. He can have as much fun as he wants now because there's nothing to lose. He can burn it down for all he cares. He can race the way he wants to, knowing that it's going to be checkers or wreckers, and again, it could be both.
Yeah, you just see how smooth Favignano is on the wheel, and that's the difference right there in speed.
You remember that scene in Talladega Nights where I forget the driver of the Perrier machine? He's so far ahead, he's reading a book in first. That's
Yes.
kind of I feel like Favignano's doing that right now. You saw just how smooth he was on the wheel. You saw just how incredibly comfortable he is with that Blues Clues Chevrolet right now. He could just as well read a book, catch up on a podcast, do whatever he needs to, because he is in control of this race right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, keep an eye on here. Well, we thought it was a bad stop for Kyle Carpenter. It wasn't that bad, really. He's in the 7th spot, so let's show you where this is at. Here's your leaders right here, and all the way back to 7th, Kyle Carpenter's over here. And that's Tyler Schultz. So if it goes back, that's usually not a D. They're starting to get in the weeds here because we're looking at how everybody is on the track right now. 13 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is that 12 of Civ Ryan, and then Leonard Favignano's right there breathing down his neck.
Joan Gerard, that's who it was. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. So you're absolutely right, and this creates again a conundrum for everybody involved. If you're Civ Ryan and you have a fast enough car, and you feel like you could still be competitive in this race, how hard do you race Favignano and Graham to stay on the lead lap?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out here in just a minute. Meanwhile, going back to Kyle Carpenter, you're absolutely right on him. It wasn't a bad stop. It was just a matter of bad luck and bad timing. He was gambling as hard as he could. And sometimes, when you roll the dice, it comes up sevens. And in this case, 2 sevens for that Smokey and the Bandit Firebird. Not a great place, and he is paying the price for it.
Yep, and he is going to drop to the bottom of the 20 and take 6th away. So Carpenter on the move with a 31.3. We'll see what he runs this time by at the stripe. Going to be a 31. Wait for it to update there, but we're looking at 31.322 to the 31.309 by Favignano. So very similar times.
30 laps left when we get to the start finish line. Favignano and Graham continuing to put a clinic on here at Chicagoland Speedway, this very curvy track, doing everything it can to just keep them on their toes and try to making every driver make very critical decisions on this race with 30 to go. The good news is, if you're Favignano and Graham, if a caution doesn't come out, you guys have locked up the top 2 places. The bad news for Favignano, though, he will only pick up 1 point with 2 races remaining. So he will still be 3 points. He'll be 4 points behind Wes Graham with 2 races remaining. It's that points race is going to get even tighter and tighter going away.
And have a look at the weather right now. The track is cooled to 84 degrees. We saw it like 91 in practice and qualifying, but this cloud cover has moved in, and it is 84 degrees, air temperature 77, so a very, very cool track compared to what we are used to seeing. And could you imagine the way these cars are behaving all night if this thing was 120 degrees?
If it were 120 degrees, we would have at least double the cautions, triple the cautions. It may have even rivaled that of the race we no longer speak of. So Favignano now 1.13 seconds and counting on Wes Graham. Their closest competition is Jason Lance, who is 2.49 seconds away and not doing a great job of reeling them in. Kyle Potter in 4th, 10 seconds away, and Kyle Carpenter, who put up an incredible fight, 14.4 seconds from the field. The only way you're going to catch up if your name is not Leonard Favignano or Wes Graham is if a caution comes out, which never say never, it absolutely could.
And Ryan Potter started 4th, and he is right now in 4th, which is where you want to be. He's been up to 3rd and all the way back to 19th, but he's had a solid day. That is for certain. Another driver that's had a solid day is Joel Brown. Started 19th. These are things that we see out of this driver all the time. Comes down on pit road, does everything he possibly can under green, had a good stop, and right now it's worked out for him. He's in the top 10.
And what a beautiful man, if I say so myself. No, I'm sure still using that Garnier Fructis that he was sponsored by last season. Those flowing locks going so well with that Dan Shaver Chevrolet in the 43.
That's the 12 of Civ Ryan right in front of Favignano. Now, this is for the lead lap. And the 12 would be the first one down a lead lap, or down a lap. So that would be, he would give him the lucky dog position if the caution were to come out. But time is ticking.
Time is ticking, you're right, but it looks like he's not going to put up a whole lot of fight. He doesn't look like he's going to force them to get around him. It looks like he might just give up the ghost and try for the lucky dog next time around. Let's see what happens in turns 1 and 2. Ryan will go high, opens the door for Favignano. He will give him that position without contest. Classy move. Well, maybe not.
I mean, you got to fight for, your position on the track, and you don't want to go down a lap. It's not something you want to have happen. As we apologize, we're having some difficulties there, as iRacing loves to just start falling apart around the hour and a half mark. And here we are seeing that happen. But yeah, no, Ryan's going to do everything he can to stay on the lead lap here and hope for a caution.
No, I think it's great. I think he's doing the right thing by not giving up that position, especially because he's got such a competitive car. He's doing everything he can to keep Favignano in his rearview mirror. It may not be enough, but that will benefit Wes Graham, who has now picked up at least 4/10 and may pick up a little bit more if Favignano is forced to fight Civ Ryan.
Yeah, and this is causing the 67 to be pushed off of the racing line he's been running. And you're seeing Graham taking advantage of that, and that's exactly what happens. The 67 may not be too happy about it, but, I mean, the 12 has every right to be out there fighting for it.
No, absolutely, and it's great to see, especially now that he is a full-time content creator over here or over on the YouTube platform. When you're a content creator, you got to strive for as much content as possible, and he is putting on a great show for content tonight.
Oh, and they almost collect each other. Oh, but they make contact. The 67's getting a little brazen there with the side draft on the 12, and he needs to think about the bigger picture here, and that is the 88 that has found his way to his bumper through all of this.
I don't know if that was a warning shot or if that was or if those were some deliberate moves, but nonetheless, the 67 gave the 12 definitely forced the 12 to move, and that opens up the door for Wes Graham. Now, will discretion be the better part of valor? Will they be able to put away the emotions and have a clean boxing match with 20 to go?
Well, during all of this, it wasn't just Graham that was able to reel them all in. It was also Jason Lance. He is now just only 5/10 back from Favignano.
Only 5/10 back, and might be picking up some more, especially if Favignano and Graham start dueling back and forth. 20 to go at this juncture. Knock that off your bingo cards, folks. Favignano and Graham in striking position, and this really could be the race for the championship right here.
Yeah, and they're taking it to that level, because every single point counts here. As you see the 67 jump in front of the 70 of Rick Evans there. Rick just trying to stay out of the way right now. He is he's the only car a lap down. Well, never mind. That would be the 12 as well now. But the 70 is the first one down, so he's for lucky position. So Lucky Dog is being raced between the 70 and the 12 right now. That's what I meant to say.
We all know what you meant.
Okay.
And meanwhile, Jason Lance now back up in the mix. The Ratfig Chevrolet, he is driving it like that is that rat rod has something to prove. He's now 0.6 of a second behind, and it looks like he's going to do everything he can to try to make some moves. Kyle Carpenter now up to 4th, maybe a little too late. Definitely needs a caution flag to get back to being competitive.
And this is the time for Lance to start, showing, hey, I got speed as well, but also there's still plenty of racing to go. That it's very easy that, he could be conserving tire here.
20 laps is not plenty of racing left to go, Jeff. It's go time. If you have the wheels underneath you, if you have the tires, you've got to start making your moves, because guess what? Favignano's not going to let up. Graham's going to be forced not to let up. Lance has to start making that move, and he has to make that move now. He cannot gamble on a caution flag.
1 and 2 they run. Only 0.2 separate the leader from second, and that is Favignano, Graham, Lance, Carpenter, Potter, Gould, Brown, Schultz, and Orendorff. And rounding out the top 10 right now is Brandon Buggs.
Brandon Buggs had a racy car all night long, but all these incidents and whatnot have quagmired him towards the back of the top 10. Once again, it's the Favignano and Graham show, and if Favignano wants a shot at winning the championship, even though he'll only collect 1 point on Wes Graham, he needs this win. He needs to keep Graham behind him.
And that is the 22 of Alex Reno. And he is fighting to stay on the lead lap. And they call him the Great Wall of Reno for a reason. We'll see if he's able to do exactly that here to the 67.
Who calls him the Great Wall of Reno? I'm genuinely curious.
It's just that everybody, because he's like the Ryan Newman of the league. He's hard to pass.
I've always called him just Aviator Alex.
Well, yeah.
He'll always be Aviator Alex in my heart, but he's just good. But speaking of which, he's going to let those 2 cars fly by. He will now be the first one a lap down if we get a caution flag. He'll be the lucky dog. And look who's now in the mix. Jason Lance has used that lap car as a pick. And now the 3 of them could be doing battle here at the end of the race.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on the speed that Lance is showing here, as he had a good run there, 31.464, just about a 10th difference between third and second.
So first, second, third will be decided between Favignano, Graham, and Lance. It's just a matter of who wants it worse. 12 laps to go at this juncture. 12 to go when we go to the start-finish line. Favignano doing everything he can to hold off Graham. His championship hopes basically are set on this race.
Yeah, and we don't have the drop week factored in yet, so it's kind of hard to say. until that's all been said and done. But, man, yeah, this is a hard race here at a championship level out of Favignano and Graham, and it's a ton of fun to watch.
Absolutely. These guys are having a lot of fun out here. We've seen tempers flare between them, and tempers could flare one more time as we ride on board with Wes Graham on the bumper of Leonard Favignano's machine. Blues Clues trying to hold him off. Can they do it? Can they get the checker flag?
It's going to be 10 to go here at the line. We'll see if he can hold him off.
11 to go at the line. It'll be 12 to go, or 10 to go when they cross it one more time. Favignano, 0.15 seconds ahead of Graham, half a second in front of Lance. Your top three running away from this field. And if anyone is biding their time to try to make a move, it's Wes Graham. He is simply running in the tire tracks of Leonard Favignano, and between the two of them, he is biding his time, saving what he can to try to make a last lap pass.
And if you're the 86 of Lance right now, you're loving what you are seeing. You're hoping that the 88 would have caught the 67 to give you a shot to get up there in the mix as well. And I think the 86 is just kind of laying back just a little bit here.
I think so. I think he's waiting to see what Favignano has left in the tank, what the tires are going to do underneath him. He may not wait that long as he now makes a dive down low. They are side by side in 3 and 4.
Wes Graham on the bottom there and they're maintaining about the same amount of speed. Let's see if anybody's going to jump down to the very bottom. Nobody is. They're going to stay right in their racing line.
Side by side through turns 1 and 2, they continue to run just almost a dead heat for one another. This opens the door for Lance, though, as they slow down side drafting. He's just going to sit back in that wind tunnel the two of them are creating and start trying to figure out when he wants to make his move, trying to get number 1.
They almost contact each other. Well, I think they almost did hit each other a little bit there in 3 and 4. And what is happening with, forcing the 67 on the outside is the car's gotten tight now, and he's fighting it. And it's really hard to give up real estate, especially if you're trying to do side draft and everything else. Almost 3 wide here, looking for the lead.
Incredible racing between these three. It could come down to any lap, any time between Graham, Favignano, and Lance. Lance now squarely in the mix as Graham has to block 2 lines of racing to try to keep these incredible competitors behind him.
The 88 of Graham completes the pass. He is your leader right now. Here is Lance up in the mix right now, and it looks like the 67 might have used up too much tire, and he's really struggling to maintain pace with him.
I think he's struggling to maintain pace because he's lost his preferred line. He's no longer able to keep it going the way he wants, and now he's going to try to use up what's left of those general tires underneath him to make the moves and try to get his lead back. But you're right, it could be too little too late considering how hard he's run this entire time.
And Lance is going to go for broke here. It's time to go. No more laying back, dude. If you have a little bit of tire left on that thing, use it up because we are running out of time.
Favignano now drops behind Jason Lance, and this could be the championship right here, ladies and gentlemen. This could be where Graham seals it for himself. Not a lot of time left, less than 5 to go. Graham, Lance, Favignano in line. Can Favignano at least get second?
This is exactly the kind of race that Wes needed. Earlier in the season had that incident at Irwindale, had a drop to the back of the line, had to miss a race and all that stuff. And it will hurt him, but he also had, we have the drop week. So that's going to change up everything. And Favignano makes contact with the wall off of 2.
Too much, too soon for Leonard Favignano. Used too much of the Blues Clues machine, and now Blue is feeling the pain as he drops back. Graham and Lance now 1 and 2 with 4 laps to go as they cross the start-finish line.
And that's just the difference between, everybody getting on pit road in green flag conditions and then how hard you're running the car, because now we've just, it's stayed green the entire time. And that changed up everything. So we're seeing that the 67 ran the car just a little bit harder than these guys.
But that's his trademark. That's Favignano's trademark. He always runs it harder than everybody else out there. He always runs as deep as he can, making that car work as hard as it will go. So sometimes it works, and sometimes you get the raw end of it. 3 laps at this juncture. Can Graham hold it off for the win?
And it is interesting. Looking at the times right now, 31.464 of Lance there to the 31.354 for Graham. So Graham easily faster there, but Leonard Favignano ran a 31.309. So he was faster than all 3 of them, but it's just the difference in, not having that clean air and also the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he can push it as hard as he wants to now, but with the popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go, I don't know that it's going to be enough to catch up to your leaders. Meanwhile, Lance has to make a decision right now. Is he going to try to take the lead, or is he going to be happy with a second-place finish? If it were me, Jeff, I'm going all out. I don't want a second-place finish. I want to finish first.
Yeah, and I do apologize. The iRacing service always loses its mind about an hour and a half into these sessions, and there's nothing I can do. It doesn't happen on any other games or anything else. I am aware that it's doing the stuttery stuff there, but who cares? We're at the line right now. It's going to be 1 to go, sponsored by Thrustmaster.
Wes Graham, one more backstretch to go before he can pick himself up another win on this season. Lance is dropping positions. It looks like it's Wes's race to lose coming into turns 3 and 4.
And it doesn't look like Jason's going to have anything left in the tank here, and Graham is going to win at Chicagoland.
So Wes Graham, back and forth through the field, uses pit strategy to his advantage, and he will take away the Chicagoland 134 here in the OCRP iRacing League. Jason Lance second, Leonard Favignano third, Kyle Carpenter fourth, and Nick Gould fifth. To quote the Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of this series has absolutely risen to the top.
It has, and you see right there, Wes gets the big win here tonight, and that's what he needed to move forward in the championship 100%. We won't know until what happens next week, and then we have more racing after that. A drop week will separate what really occurs here. Oh, I like that little move right there. The 88 sliding it sideways there and rolls it backwards and does a burnout forwards. Burn it down. Wes Graham, your winner.
Very, very classy move on Wes Graham's part. Started third, will walk away first and picks up 2 points on Leonard Favignano. Of course, we'll have to wait for the drop week to be incorporated in, but I don't see anticipate a whole lot of difference between those two drivers and their points. Both these guys have dominated the season, have dominated this league, and I think this really could be the turning point in who will win the championship.
Big congratulations out there for the 88. He ran a smart race here tonight, and that is what ultimately mattered. Green flag stops changed up the entire flow of the race, and good stops there, and also just conserving that little bit of tire over the 67.
And that just goes to show you what good strategy will do, what good clean racing will do, and what level-headed racing will do. Wes obviously has had a lot of challenges this season, but it's good to see him back in championship form. It's good to see him back in a calm way, and very excited for him. You definitely earned this win, Wes. Go out there and celebrate.
Yeah, he did, and it was a very, very tight battle between him, Favignano, and Lance. They put on one heck of a show for the end of this thing. I always love to see a good, 3-car battle like that, and we got to see exactly that. We'll get your race results here now. Wes Graham gets the win here tonight at Chicagoland. Jason Lance in second, Leonard Favignano in third, fourth to Kyle Carpenter, Nick Gould, Ryan Potter, Joel Brown, Tyler Schultz, Jonathan Orndorff, and Brandon Buggs rounds out the top 10.
Finishing 11 is the Great Wall of Reno, Alexander Reno in the 22. Siv Ryan, after all that work, will finish position number 12. Rob Bearder started in second, will finish position number 13. Rick Evans drops 3 to 14th. Joe Ogle drops 3 to 15th. Chavez Essery started the top 10. He will bisect the field, drop down to 16th. Robert Webb, Austin Johnson, Nick Sargent, and Zachary Guzman round out the 20 cars racing in Chicagoland.
And there you have it. But the big one is the 88 getting the win. We're going to talk to the drivers. Drivers. We'll be right back.
Yes.
The drivers. We'll be right back. All right, and we are going to catch up to tonight's winner, Wes. That was one heck of a run. Walk us through your green flag stop, and then also the 3-car battle there for the win.
I'm tired. I'm like really tired. I figured I was gonna have to pull something different anyway. So I was like, maybe I'll come in lap 84. Give it a 50 lap run to the end. I was pretty sure we can make enough fuel then. Of course, I might be doing math wrong as well because I'm literally really tired now. That just absolutely took it out of me. It was fun beating and banging with Leonard there. I figured out his line. I figured out how he's getting the rear end to come around. So once I figured that out, I just stalked behind him. Had lap traffic hold them up a little bit, bring them back to us, and they were fighting to stay on the lead lap, and just had an absolute awesome time. I mean, I could have finished third in this situation, and I'd still be in the same mood right now. That was just absolutely fun. Big. I didn't want to take it from Lance there because I know that he's wanting one as well, but I thought he was going to get me there with the last couple of laps because he was saving his stuff up, and you could tell. Plus, he came in a handful of laps after we did, I believe, and made up all of that time. And tip of the cap to Lance there. Definitely needed this moving into the last 2 weeks. Gained 2 points, I believe. So, looking forward to Nashville Fairgrounds next week, and got to thank Tony, WMD Paint Shop, for the paint. And, thank y'all for the broadcast, man.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, we won't have a broadcast next week for Nashville, so we'll be in the dark, but we'll be keeping an eye on everything as we move into Miami. And looking at the points right now, are you concerned about the drop week, or you think that's going to help you?
Oh, mine's already factored in. Both of ours already factored in. So basically, it's run what you brung. I was 5 ahead coming into this. Now I'm 7. So, that's 7 spots that I cannot finish behind him. So the goal is to finish as close to him as possible because he's going to be bad fast in Nashville. He's going to be bad fast at Homestead. So it's just, looking forward and moving on.
There you go. Well, glad that you cleared that one up because it always confuses me because I'm stupid acting. But congratulations to you, man. Awesome to see you get the win here tonight. Moving on, Jason Lance, another heartbreaker, so close. Started on the pole. You've had so much speed. What did you need different there to run down the 88?
Some lap traffic would have been nice in front of him, but I need them Leonard and Wes to race a lot harder, probably earlier on than they had started to. But I feel that this is going to be an amazing race to rewatch because wow, this 3 cars battling for the lead there, and I was a part of it. Was just it's more than I could expect. And once I got up to Leonard and Wes, I started to go, oh gosh, should I race these guys? Because these guys are very close into the points. But I felt like I saved my tires probably a little bit better. And plus, I really wanted to get my first Thursday night win. So I was trying to race them, as clean and respectful as I could. But I was just a little short there on the end.
Well, there you go, Jason Lance. He started on the pole, and he's going to finish in second, and it was a lot of fun to watch you guys. Leonard Favignano started 5th, ran up there towards the front, led 78 laps tonight, and then just fell short by 2 spots there. What was the difference between the green flag stops and what you did and what the other guys did?
The green flag pit stops was just who got it first and who was quickest on the pit stop. I third is not something I was wanting to take for leaving this race, especially even with him gaining 2 points on me. And I don't see me gaining any possible way 7 points or whatever it is, 6 by the next 2 races. So, I mean, you can probably just congratulate him on the championship, but that's not even what I'm worried about. It's just I can't come out here and just enjoy it. I got to fight every position on the track. The lap car seeing a battle for the lead, and there's just no common courtesy from me. However, if we go back to 2 seasons ago, Matt Rucci, everyone would pull over for him. So, and then just another lap car calling for the pits right as soon as I get behind him, which is coincidental, right? So, not where I wanted to finish at all, and I'm not very happy. So, just let's see how next week goes.
All right, Favignano started the 5th spot and will finish in 3rd. Joe, who you got down there?
Kyle Carpenter, the 77 machine in that Pontiac Firebird. He was the man to beat and then ended up getting stuck in traffic, ended up finishing 4th. What happened, Kyle?
I don't know about the man to beat there. I just got out front. I think I saved tires better than those guys did at the beginning. And then scrubbed the wall off of 2 that time and caused that big wreck. Or at least started it, whatever. And I think when I pitted, I didn't mean to take tires, but I took right sides only on accident, which I guess is a good thing considering it went green after that. And I felt like I was down on power too because I didn't take a fast repair. But I guess I saved tire a decent amount. Was able to work my way through the traffic and back up there, and then just like a Hail Mary type of pit strategy. I figured I didn't want to stay out for 50 laps. I didn't like the tires on 40 laps, but I figured I'd run a little bit longer and maybe I'd be able to catch them at the end. Just I fell off a lot around those 40 once I got 40 laps on the tires. So, but had a good race, had a lot of fun.
Kyle Carpenter finishing 4th tonight on the field. Nick Gould started in position 14, worked his way up all the way through this field, and takes the checker flag in position number 5. Nick, what was the secret? How are you able to make up so many positions over 134 laps here in Joliet?
Oh, it was definitely an interesting ride. I mean, we were definitely pulling off some tire strats there and trying to figure out what would last till the end. And then with the fuel too, it was just insane. But I figured I'd ride around, switch up lines halfway through. But like at that start, I had a hard time, and I just figured, you know what, take a deep breath, come back to it, and we're gonna push our way through this field. Everybody's got a few laps tires ahead of you, and you could definitely push by them. And that's exactly what I did. I just ran my lines, ran my pace, took the wind off everyone that I could, and slowly made my way through the field. There was a lot of give and take, and I honestly, it was a great race all around me. I loved it, honestly, and I'm definitely excited for next week. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a broadcast, but thank you for the broadcast, guys.
Nick Gould finishing 5th out there after a long run, picking up 9 positions, your Hebrew national hot dogger of the race. Hey, next time you're in the Maritimes, be sure to tell my buddy Tim Terry to keep a stick on the ice, will you?
Will do.
Jeff, I think that does it. That's your top 5 tonight, presented by Next Level Gaming.
All right, fantastic. We'll let them get to their drivers' meeting, and we'll get out of their hair so they can move on with their lives. All right, Joe. So, yep, 67. Not happy with some of the guys, the way they raced them. But you know what? Like, I see both sides of the coin. The thing is, no matter what, you're fighting to not go down a lap for the race, but the bigger picture is the championship, and to see that being more displayed towards the 67 than the other drivers out there on the track was probably frustrating for him. But it's part of it, you know?
I mean, as they say in the pro wrestling, that's the business, brother. That's the cost of doing business. That's the cost of racing out there. And, you cannot, especially when other people are gambling on other strategies, on yellow flags, on other calamity happening on the course that could put them back into contention. You have to be prepared for everything. I understand his argument, but again, that's the business, brother. If you're not happy with it, if you don't like what they're doing to you, you probably got into the wrong line of work. That being said, I don't want to take away any talent or take away anything from Leonard Fodorero. He's an incredible driver. He's got a lot of talent. He's incredibly aggressive. He really puts on a great show and tries to do everything he can to win week after week after week. So, you've got to give him a lot of credit. You've got to give him he's got a lot of heart. He wants to win just as much as everybody out there, and even if this is the last we see him in the OCRP iRacing League, it won't be the last time we talk about him on iRacing. He definitely has the competitive chops to be somebody in this simulation, and I think it's really a matter of time for Fodorero to find where he's most comfortable, how he's most comfortable in the car, and with a little bit of I guess introspection, he will be in a driver to definitely beat. But with all that being said, with all of that being considered, I do agree with him that I think the championship is sealed up. Wes Graham has to have two major malfunctions in the next 2 weeks to open the door for Leonard Fodorero. 7 points between them. I think that just might be a wide enough gap that Fodorero cannot bridge.
He may think that going in, and he's also upset right now because the race is just over. And that's the thing. When we interview people, they're right after the race and the emotions are high, and then they just, things don't matter after about 10, 15 minutes. But I could say you can't just say, 7 spots on. There's no way. Anything can happen these next couple of races. Literally anything can happen. We've seen the craziest stuff happen in this league. We've seen things happen in these last few races that you wouldn't have expected. So to be like, no, there's no way that it's going to happen. I wouldn't count anything out, especially going into Nashville. That'll be a short track. That changes up everything. And then we go back to Miami Homestead, which is going to give us more of a style of race of what we saw here tonight at Chicagoland. So it's going to be very different these next couple weeks. But I wouldn't count out the 67 at all in the championship, and I wouldn't say that he's hanging his hat up anytime soon. I think that everybody's just upset right now, right after the race.
No, I'm not saying he's hanging up his hat. I'm not saying he's just going to roll over and die for the next 2 races. No, the 67 is going to, if he can't win the series, he's going to do everything in his power to win the next 2 races. He is going to drive the hell out of that car, turn it, basically turn the wheels inside out, spin it across the the start finish line if he has to. I'm not saying he's going to give up. I'm not saying that, things can't happen. Absolutely. Short tracks and road tracks are the great equalizer in closed wheel racing. And so there's definitely plenty that could happen. All I'm suggesting is that him winning a championship is still possible. Let's put that on the table. In my limited opinion, it's not as plausible because he's racing against such great other talent behind him and around him. And I think if I'm Leonard Fodorero, if I'm in his shoes, if I'm in his position, which I'm not, I concede that. But if I were in his position, I would take the energy and I would take the focus and try to run as hard as I can the next 2 races and literally make it a test for myself. If I can win the next 2 races, it may not be a championship, but it's pretty damn close, number one. And number 2, I'm taking that energy and moving it forward. And I'm looking forward at where else can I apply this? How else can I apply this? How can I become a better driver as a result of this? And if I'm Leonard Fodorero, this is merely a stepping stone for me. This is a beginning for me. This is where I take that energy. I realize I'm a damn good competitor and I can take my show on the road and compete for even bigger trophies down the line. This is not the end for Leonard Fodorero. this is simply the beginning.
There you have it. What an incredible race tonight. And seeing these three guys battling out front was just the icing on the cake. And seeing Kyle Carpenter up there in the front doing his thing. So you can't ask of anything else when it comes to league racing, and that's exactly what we saw here tonight. But that's going to do it. I won't see you next week, but I'll see you after that for the championship race. That's going to do it for me and Joe tonight. We'll see you guys next time. Stand by. We're going to raid into Wes the Mess 88. Go show him some love. Give him some congrats on the wins. We'll see you next time.